Hello, everyone. Happy April. Welcome to another episode of Homework Help. Um, my name is Crystal Cabray, and we are going to share our screen because I am just going to be your humble host in the corner. And welcome to this week. We are going to be learning about how our characters change. Just a few things. One, this video may run a little longer than normal. Normally, I like to make these videos about half an hour or less long, but we are going to fan it girl out a little bit today. So it may run a little longer than normal. We are also watching some videos. So I put the audio for the recording on low so you can hear the audio, but that also means you might hear other background noise that would normally be canceled out. So if you hear lumps, bumps, barks, and such, we're just going to ride through them because we are a low maintenance group here. If you are joining us for the first time, we are already in the midst of our intros and expectations, but we have easygoing flow, I would like to think. Here, there is not much that we are going to be all super uptight about. Everything that we talk about here is more on a peer-to-peer, let's have a coffee or a tea or a donut or something and just kind of chat up about a topic. This week it is, I mean this month, it is about characters that need some change in their life and why it is important. So I know I'm kind of skipping around here with the slides. I really need to put this before anything else, but yes. We are going to talk about why our characters need change. We're going to talk about some high stakes. If you know what that is, then awesome, you already are ahead of the game, but we're going to talk about it in a few different ways. There's always a take-home exercise, and there's always a little wrap-up at the end. Today's wrap-up is actually one of the reasons why I think this video is going to be a little bit longer, aside from the fangirling, just because we have a new website, so I wanted to show you guys that at the end. But just a little quick introduction if you don't know who I am. I believe I said it before. I've restarted this video about 3 times, just a fun fact. My name is Crystal Cabray. I am a writer. I like to see myself as a mentor rather than a teacher. I've been writing for 16 years at this point, and I am very excited for the July anime lineup this year. But that is a whole another video in itself. So I'm going to open up my notes here. We're going to get into what I'm super excited about and why I had to start this video over like 3-4 times because I was just too excited. And I'm like, girl, you need to tone down the excitement you got going on. So today's guest story is Epic the Musical. And if you know the Odyssey, then you kind of already know the story of Epic, but I don't know what it is about this musical that has had me in a grip, and I only discovered it at the beginning of the year. Yes, I know I am extremely late to the party, but I'm low-key happy I'm late because I got into it as soon as the last part was released. But anyway, digressing, we are using Epic today as an example to understand why our story needs to have some change, where our characters need to change from the beginning to the end. I promise I'm going to stay on topic. I promise. Epic was made by, I don't know if he prefers to go by George or Jorge, but George Rivera Herranz and many, many other people. Too many people to list because it's not only just the voice actors and actresses and the people that did the instrumentals and the people that did the animatics and so on and so on and so on. It is just an ongoing project that keeps giving, and I am so blessed to be a part of this fandom. And we are going to get into why our characters need some change. Spoiler! You could call this an epic dissertation. For those that are not familiar with why I keep my notes up, it's because sometimes we go into tangent land. I am only but a mere human. There's a reason why I put this with the ability for you to double time it, because we'll be here all day if you don't. Just kidding. This is going to be as concise as humanly possible for someone who is a big fan of Epic and thought it was a fantastic idea about 2 hours ago when she made these slides 2 use it as an example for why characters make the change, and need the change. But if you are not familiar with Epic or the Odyssey, because it seems like all of us like learned the Odyssey in the 7th grade and then never came back, and that was fine for me until this musical came about. So if you don't know it, that's cool. You are going to know it by the time I'm done talking about it, if I ever get past slide 6. So we are going to jump right in, because what is a story without a character and without a place? Our main character for this long and epic journey is Odysseus. If you don't know who Odysseus is, this poor guy, he has gone through a lot, but that comes later. To paint you a picture as to where we are and what is happening and all that jazz, if you like genuinely have no clue what I am talking about when I'm talking about Epic, when I'm talking about the Odyssey, Odysseus, none of it. We are in Greek times, ancient Greece, Greek mythology, if you would. And all the gods are floating about. We're going to put all our personal beliefs at the door. This is Fantasyland. So all of the Greek gods are roaming about in this story. And I say that because they are characters that appear in this story. So we are in Greek times. The settings vary a lot because we are sailing like 1,595% of the story. And that is good because every time we're sailing, different things happen, which promotes change. So Odysseus, homeboy, is a king of Ithaca. Almost forgot where he's from. And he has been fighting a war for the last 10 years against the Trojans. You would think I would know this, but clearly that's not the important part of the story. He's been fighting for the last 10 years. And all he wants to do is end this war and go home. He has gone through a lot. And when he leaves said war, you would think that the story was over, because technically there was a story before the Odyssey, which was the Iliad, I believe. Please don't come after me, Greek mythology buffs. I love you, but my brain don't got all the information all the time. So there was a story before this, and this is technically like the end, and then he went home. The journey home is a whole different story. So we are going to not only see how this affects Odysseus as a main character, but we're going to see how this affects the important side characters, because all side characters that make up a story are going to aid the story forward, whether in a good way, a bad way. You don't just plop a character out of nowhere and expect, oh yeah, they're just gonna be great and everyone's gonna love them. No, it takes a lot of work. Please hold. So we have a few characters that are in this story that make or break the story. So we got best friends, we got brother-in-laws, we got mentors, we got wives, we got helpful gods that come out of nowhere. And all of this is imperative to the story because each character adds its own level to how the main character has to change. There are a lot of moments that a character can change by themselves, but it is, in my humble opinion, better if a character has a squad and that squad helps them grow, whether it is as drastic as Odysseus or just, casual. So we have also the other characters that are involved, the people that get in the way, the catalysts, the things that make change. We love them. We hate them. We can't stand them. There is a lot that goes into a catalyst. And some people think that it's like, oh yeah, grandma got run over by a reindeer kind of catalyst. That is a catalyst to a story. But who was driving said sleigh that grandma got run over by? So that's where you get your catalyst. You get the people that are standing in your character's way. So, like I said before, Odysseus went through a lot before this story even started. He was at war for 10 years, and all he wanted to do was get home. And there was one little tiny thing standing in his way, which was he had to kill a baby to save everyone and end the war. You know, it's just a little thing. It's nothing too crazy, just a baby. Um, and you would think that that would, again, be the end of a story. That is very drastic. Let me just go kill this infant and then I can go home. By order of the gods, by the way. It's not like this was just, oh, the only way I can think of is to kill this baby. No, the gods told you to do this, bruh. And this is the only way you can go home. You can see how you would think that, okay, internal crisis, I can get over this. No, there is no way around this. The catalyst, making change. Odysseus has to do this if he wants to get home. So, before we get into all the nuts and bolts that come after this moment of this decision of I'm going to drop this infant from a wall so I can go home and start a whole new story after I just did 10 years of war and did a whole different story. What are some important story elements that we have already kind of covered in my little epic ramblings? We have the main character. Who are they? Why are they here? What is their purpose? What were they doing before we walked in on them? That is all that. Then we have the setting, all the many places we go. Wherever they started, the story. Troy. I'm going to say it's Troy. I'm going to say it strongly because it was a Trojan horse. So, yeah, Troy. Yeah. That's where they started their journey. They then went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 islands after that. They had a whole entire life after this moment of dropping a child. So there's many settings that you need in your story. There are side characters that help you move mountains and all the things. And then you have catalysts, events that happen that change you as a person and are irreparable sometimes. So I have been trying to be super concise up until this point because I know that a lot of us have trouble with change. And this is the biggest, hardest fact to swallow. I don't know how else to nicely say this. Killing your characters is not glamorous, but it is something that needs to be done. It is something that sometimes needs to happen. It may not be the main character that you kill, because if you kill the main character, then you're going to have, not to have another spoiler, but a Divergent situation on your hands. If you decide to kill off the main character. It doesn't make any sense to me, but there are other characters you can kill off that may be hard. Like I said before, Odie was literally forced by the gods to kill a baby. And that was his only way he was going to get home. The only way that his wife was going to be safe, his kid was going to be safe, he was going to be safe. What would make the last 10 years of his life actually meaningful was something terrible. But he didn't have a choice. He couldn't go around it. That is how it is when we must kill our darlings, when we must put our characters through the ringer. I was on a podcast recently, and a good friend of mine was hosting it, and he asked me what I felt about killing off my characters. I don't kill off my main characters. I let them suffer. I let them feel like they're dying and wish they were dead, and then give them a satisfying ending as to why they were dying in the first place, proverbially, because you cannot be the same person that you were at the start of your journey when you're all the way over here in chapter 102. Like, if you are, then what was all this? What was all of the book for? The story, the novel, what was it for? What was the point? So, as a writer, you have to choose. And one of the reasons why I personally chose Epic as an example, even though it seems like it's distracting me like a squirrel all over the place, is one of the first lines, or not the first line in the song, but in one of the first songs, one of the last lines in that song is, "The blood on your hands is something you won't lose. All you can choose is whose." That is something that writers need to keep in mind. You can't get around the fact that you need to put your characters through some drama, because if not, you will not have a story. So you have to ask yourself, what do you live for? What do you try for? What do you wish for? What do you fight for? What would you die for? And essentially immerse yourself in your character when you ask yourself these questions, because these are questions that you can ask yourself. And this is actually a chant that comes from the first song in Epic. The last one is obviously a personal bonus, because initially I thought one of those lines, the one, what do you try for? I thought they were saying what you would die for, and then I looked at the lyrics. But these are serious questions that not only you would ask yourself like as a person for philosophical reasons, but what your character needs to ask themselves, because they're going on some epic quest, some epic journey. If not, like, I don't care if it's a comedy, a tragedy, a romance, a mystery, if your character isn't leaving somewhere to go do something, you're not really having a story. Even if they don't like physically leave the location for the entire story, something can actually happen, because there are plays that it's literally like, yeah, we're locked in this one room and an entire act or two passes by and the characters are just in one room the entire time, but there's a story. So understanding the deeper nuances of why your character would do something and the depths and lengths they would go to actually accomplish this is what we're trying to get at here. So the heart of the lesson of this entire long video, because I can already sense it, because we are on 13 of 29, but I know that everyone is not here for the epic dissertation, so I planned ahead because I didn't trust myself to not get super excited and rabbit-minded. So the heart of this lesson is to ask, has your character changed from who they were at the beginning of the story to when they reach their goal? If your character is exactly the same as they were when they started the story, at the end, I don't know what story you're telling. Me personally, I don't, because even in serialized, like Friends or SpongeBob, these characters change. They grow. Maybe not a lot. Things always reset. You know, people always like to regurgitate old storylines. But the characters have growth. The characters have change. You remember certain moments about them that it was like, ah, yeah, I remember when they were like that. And now they're like this. So your characters at the bottom base of the line of the day need to change. And hopefully on this journey, we will figure out the best way that they can change, because Odysseus is a perfect example. So what are all the problems and the catalysts and all the things that stand in Odysseus's way? He already fought a war for 10 years, but all his men survived because he has a mentor named Athena. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's like goddess of wisdom and all that. So she was like his like right-hand man on the battlefield. And they're on their way home. We already dropped the infant from the wall. But there's no food. So they stop on an island. And on that island, Odie's best friend gets smushed by a cyclops. And then because, you know, he was upset about that, he kind of told the cyclops his identity after he was literally about to get away with all the things that he had to do to escape said island after his friend got smushed. And then because of that, his mentor was like, you didn't listen to me at all. I'm out of here. Goodbye. Like, screw the last 10 years plus that they had together, but whatever. I digress. Um, and then there was a storm that came through literally like 5 seconds before they were about to get home. So in the midst of that storm, he saw this like floating island and he was like, oh my gosh, the god Aeolus, help, please, I need to get home. And they were like, cool, bruh, just hold this bag. It got all the wind, the storm, the bits in it. Um, yeah, just hold on to it, don't open it, and you could get home. And he was like, cool. He was awake for 9 days. 9 whole days and nights. Homeboy was like, I'm awake, I'm living, I'm breathing, we're here, we're doing it, we're almost home. And he like kind of falls into like, you know, when you think you're awake, but you're not. He fell into one of those modes. And in that moment, in that song, because everything that I've been saying up to this moment are a bunch of different songs, a bunch of different events, a bunch of different stuffs. He says a line that is, so much has changed, but I'm the same. But I'm the same. He reinforces it. That is the giveaway that we are at the beginning of a story and not at the end. Homeboy has everything that he needs. He's already gone through a lot. This whole thing that I have said, that's a whole story in itself. You know, like he done lost people. He stabbed someone in the eye. He had to leave. He had to make hard choices. His mentor left. He got a storm that he has to go through. He over here talking to gods and stuff. You think the story would be over, right? We don't need no more. He holds the bag. He gets to his home and all is well. He got all 600 men with him. That is not how this story goes at all. At all. Because if it did, that would just be it. That would just be that. That would be the story. And I don't think it would be as amazing and like through the ages as it is now. Because what kind of story is that? It's like, all right, cool. This guy, like, he lost like one person. And that's it. That's the story. It's not a good story. So we need more. So we're going to talk about the levels of how much you need to make your character suffer. That's what I should have named this video. How much you can make your character suffer before it kills them, essentially. So, like I have been saying, you need impactful change to drive a story. Without change, the story dies. Because literally, if Odi just stayed awake like maybe half an hour later, he would have been home. Maybe. I don't know. That's up for debate. But in essence, if he just kept the bag closed, he would have been home. And that would have been the end of the story. There are like 6,000 more things that happen that we are going to talk about. So we already thought that it was bad that he dropped a baby from a wall. At least I hope you think it's bad that he dropped a baby from a wall just to save his people and end a war. Then we smushed his best friend, took his mentor away. That was also pretty bad. Then there was the storm, but we don't know why the storm happened. Well, it turns out, since someone decided to open the bag, like literally 5 seconds before they're about to get home, which doesn't make sense to me. But again, if you don't have this kind of catalyst events, you don't have a story. The storm was caused by Poseidon, because remember I said that Odi had to do some things, like stab the Cyclops that killed his best friend in the eye to escape alive with his people. That was Poseidon's kid, and Poseidon is pissed. And because, you know, Odi gave his identity away, he was really like, I'm the reigning king of Ithaca. Like, come for me, bruh, as he's like sailing away. I'm like, I understand why Athena said, I ain't dealing with that. You just cut the wrath of Poseidon, bruh. I ain't here for that. Goodbye. But Poseidon is literally preventing Odysseus from going home with his storm. Like, it's literally just around Ithaca. Like, I don't think it directly affects Ithaca because another 10 years pass before we get to the conclusion of our story. But it's just like, you know, anytime Odi tries to get home, there's a storm, like literally on the horizon. And that is like as bad as it gets. Like, you're keeping Odi from the one thing that he wanted to do for the last 10 years. So this kind of bad level 100 is what can make or break a character into doing things that they normally wouldn't do. And that brings about high stakes, because high stakes cause problems. You thought catalyst caused problems. No, high stakes cause problems because you don't have catalysts without stakes. And let me break that down a little bit slower. So, just to give you a visual, however you want to remember high stakes cause problems. When I was in high school, I went to a magnet school that was half the day normal high school, half the day whatever you went for. I went for theater, music theater, but theater. Um, there was always a running joke in the class about high stakes because when we would do improv or when we would have to, look up a play or a show or whatever and pick out a scene and then, memorize that and then present it to the class with your partner or whatever, we were obviously high schoolers. Our stakes weren't very high, like adrenaline was up, emotions were up, but like the grasp of life's problems was very low. So like I don't know if anyone was ever forced to do one of those horrible dare skits where you were told to pick a scenario like I don't know, like someone dying at a like someone overdosing at a party. That was always like I don't know why every group that I ever got like picked with, that was their thing. And it was like overdosing at a party. And what they would do, because this was like middle school now, taking it even further back to show you how low and high people can make stakes for a scenario. So you have the highest possible scenario of overdose at a party, and the stakes, the things that we're choosing to actually, do in said scene is like, I'm so drunk. Oh my gosh. And then falls on the floor. Like, doesn't really have any like logical. It's just like she drank a lot. Now she's on the floor. Oh no. And then spend 5 minutes trying to call like 911. It's very different than if you see a very high budgeted movie of someone who is at a party with a cup in their hand and someone does something terrible to said cup and that person drinks said liquid from said cup and then something terrible happens because they drink said liquid from said cup. The choices that you make can impact your story. And if you choose weak things to happen in your story, and I say this with all the love in my heart for people who write romance because I am with you, but sometimes the boy next door can do more than just take off his shirt. You feel me? So, what are some other things that happen in Odysseus's life? Going back to that guy, because his stakes and his problems don't end with just, not being able to go home. So after he deciphers why there's this storm, he runs into Poseidon, who obviously tells him, and then Poseidon wipes out like 500 out of 600 of his crewmen that survived 10 years of war, because he was pissed, obviously, that, Odie stabbed his son's eye. And Odysseus escapes and he goes to a different island and he's just trying to scout the island, just try to find some food, some water, shelter, just trying to wrap his mind around losing basically almost all his crew except whoever was on his boat. Some of his men get turned into pigs because they run into Circe. Circe, I believe, was also a goddess who was protecting nymphs and such. And Odie had to basically partner with Hermes just to get his men back and maybe ask for some help. Then he learns he has to go to the underworld. So he goes to the underworld. While he's in the underworld, he learns not only that he could see all the people that has died, not only by his hand, but by other people's hands. So he runs into his best friend that's dead. Runs into all the men that were just killed like 2 songs ago. Runs into his mom because his mom died while he was away. Because at this point, I think it's another 2 years has passed or something. So yeah, he's going through the underworld, and then he meets the prophet that he was there for, only to find out that the prophet just is like, yeah, I don't got it. Like, I see all the things that are gonna happen to you, but I'm not gonna help you. And he was like, and at that moment, Odysseus snapped, and he was like, is it me? Is it me? Do I need to change? And then he was like, I guess I gotta change. So then he went and found some sirens, because sirens know everything about the ocean. That the sirens told him the only way to get home is to outsmart Poseidon and go through Circe's I mean, not Circe, Scylla's lair, and sacrifice 6 of your men, because that's the cost of going through her abode. And he was like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing now. I guess it's what we're doing now. So we started this journey. We thought with all of our heart and soul that the hardest thing that we would have to do was drop a baby from a wall to save our people and end a war. It was never supposed to get this deep. We were never supposed to sacrifice our own crewmen. You know, we were never supposed to be running from the gods. And then, you know, because we sacrificed said crewman and one of the crewmen found out, which, by the way, this said crewman was also the reason why the windbag was opened like all them years ago, because at this point years have passed. Because of that, they basically like knock Odysseus out time to the, I guess, the boat, and then they go try to find food, and they end up on the island of the sun god and kill one of his cows and incur the wrath of the biggest, baddest Greek god there is, Zeus. And basically Zeus is like, oh, well, someone's gotta die today. And I need you to choose. Do you want to live, or do you want your crew to live? And he was like, I want to live. So the crew dies, and then Odysseus like also kind of like in a way dies, because then he's trapped on an island with a different goddess who has a bunch of different problems for the next 7 years. And we just thought that the hardest thing had already happened. No. As the story progresses, the stakes keep getting higher and higher and higher and higher and higher until this character is literally feeling like they are dying. I didn't say that to be like melodramatic. Like, no, literally everything that happens to Odysseus keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. But don't take my word for it, because we're going to have some examples in our lives. Because you thought that I was just going to ramble about Epic and not show you some examples. This is why this video is probably going to be like an hour long, but it's fine. Because I hope that out of all of these epic ramblings, you understand the importance of choosing deep, meaty, meaningful events to happen in your stories. Because if we keep choosing the same things to happen over and over again, we are never going to have exciting stories. You can take something as old as the Odyssey and transform it into Epic the Musical. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to go from low stakes to the highest stakes from here on out with examples. Hopefully YouTube doesn't flag me for licensing and all that. Just for the record, these are all made by different people, so they're all going to look different, but it all tells a story, because this musical is still ongoing. It's, in my humble opinion, it is not complete. Like, the musical soundtrack is complete, but the animation isn't like done. So I like to see it as one epic project. So here you are with literally having to make the first choice that we have been talking about, that we thought was going to be the hardest choice on the planet. Just, if you would play, it would be really great. Just throwing it out there for friends that wanna. I'm afraid there's going to be a commercial. Oh, no commercial. Okay.
To the sun of mine, demons haunt my days. Every man I've slain is the price I pay. Endless pain. Close your eyes and spare yourself the view. How could I hurt you? I'm just a man who's trying to go home, even after all the years away from what I've known. I'm just a man who's fighting for his life. Deep down I would trade the world to see my son and wife. I'm just a man. But when does a comet become a meteor? When does a candle become a blaze? When does a man become a monster? When does a ripple become a tidal wave? When does the reason become the blame? When does a man become a monster? Does a comet become a meteor? When does a candle become I'm just a man.
So, we thought that this was like gonna be the hardest thing that Odie was going to have to do. Oh dear Neptune. Um, and you see how gutted he is by having to make this choice. This is a low stake, people. This is what I want you to get like in your mind. The inner mechanisms of your character need to be deeper. Their inner worlds. This one song painted the picture of what was going on through this man's mind when he was making this terrible low stake choice. Now flash forward to when he literally finds out that his prophet is not going to help him. He has done all this for what? He don't know at this point, but he is conflustered. So he does double click to react and then it doesn't. Okay, there we go. So this is what happens when poor Odysseus, like, he has to make another choice. Poor boy, always making choices.
How has everything been turned against us? How did suffering become so endless? How am I to reunite with my estranged? Do I need to change? I'm surrounded by the souls of those I've lost. I'm the only one whose line I haven't crossed. What if the greatest threat we'll find across the sea is me? What if I'm the monster? What if I'm in the wrong? What if I'm the problem that's been hiding all along? What if I'm the one who killed you every time I cave to guilt? What if I've been far too kind to foes, but a monster to ourselves? What if I'm the monster? Is the Cyclops struck with guilt when he kills? Is he up in the middle of the night? Or does he end my men to avenge his friend and then sleep knowing he has done it right? When the witch turns men to pigs to protect her nymphs, is she going insane? Or did she learn to be colder when she got older and now she saves them the pain? When a god comes down and makes a fleet drown, is he scared that he's doing something wrong? Or does he keep us in check so we must respect him and now no one dares to piss him off? Does a soldier use a wooden horse to kill sleeping Trojans cause he is vile? Or does he throw away his remorse and save more lives with God. If I became the monster and threw that guilt away, would that make us stronger? Would it keep our foes at bay? If I became the monster to everyone but us, and made sure we got home again, who would care if we're unjust? If I became the ruthlessness is mercy upon ourselves. And deep down I know this well. I lost my best friend, I lost my mentor, my mom, 500 men gone. This can't go on, I must get to see Penelope and Telemachus. So if we must sail through dangerous oceans and beaches, I'll go where Poseidon won't reach us. And if I gotta drop another infant from a wall in an instant so we all don't die, then I'll become the monster. I will deal the blow, and I'll become the monster like nothing ever known. So what if I'm the monster lurking deep below? I must become the monster, and then we'll make it I'll become the monster.
So, when people talk about the point of no return, this is exactly what they mean. There is a moment that a character must make a choice. I don't care how little or ginormous, they have to make a choice they cannot go back from. They have to go forward. They have to see this to the end. And this is what they need to do to get there. And it is not always pretty. He literally like strung out the long laundry list of things that had happened to him. And he was like, if I got to do it again, just so I can get home, because this is still my goal, the one goal that I would live for, try for, fight for, die for. This is the one thing that is like, I need to get home, period. But Odysseus is not the only person in the world. So, there are always other people in our lives. And sometimes where we think we are the main character in our story, we are the side character in someone else's story. And someone did this art of perfection. Just remember, you are always a side character in someone else's story.
500 men gone, this can't go on. I must get to see Penelope and Telemachus. So if we must sail through dangerous oceans and beaches, I'll go where Poseidon won't reach us. And if I gotta drop another infant from a wall in an instant so we all don't die, then I'll become the monster. I will deal the blow, and I'll become the monster like nothing ever known. So what if I'm the monster?
Like, imagine we saw literally like the whole monologue that he was going through, the whole heart, gut wrenching, all of it. But in the background, Hades just watching him like, can you leave? Like, can you just get out of the underworld already? It is just a reminder that our problems are not the only problems in the story. And our main character's problems are not the only problems in the story. Are they the most important? Yes. Are they the only thing that exists? No. Why do I bring it up? Because even after all of this drama for your mama that Odie has been going through, it's not like his wife and his kid have just been sitting around eating grapes, wondering when he's gonna come home. Now, it's been 20 years, okay? It's been 20 years. And the kingdom of Ithaca is about to crack because Penelope has been holding down the fort by herself. She's been raising her kid. I say by herself, but you know, she's like a queen, so she got all like, you know, the servants and all that, but by herself. And she has all these suitors. that are trying to obviously be like, come on, girl, Odysseus dead. It's not like they got like, phones or carrier pigeons or whatever. Like, he went off to war 10 years ago, and then the war ended. I don't know if they know the war's over, but it's over. But he's still been gone for another 10 years. So it's like, is he alive? Do we have a king? I'm not too sure. Let me get the throne. Let me see what that mouth do, because they are not appropriate at all. Um, so there's a lot of stuff happening in Ithaca. It's not just to Odysseus. Telemachus is 20 years old, and he's a sweet little thing. He doesn't necessarily have a lot of overwhelming skill to take on, I don't know, hundreds of suitors. How many ever suitors were chilling in the throne room for like over 2 decades? And these people have literally just been kind of eating them out of house and home, trying to find a weakness to try to get said throne. And while these problems are technically Odysseus's problems, Odysseus is still trying to get home. So this would technically be a side character's problem. And you can see just how important it is to have a well-rounded world and a well-rounded, life that is happening. Because imagine if like Odysseus went through all this stuff and then Penelope was just like, "Oh, I've been waiting for you for 20 years." Like, how realistic is that? Like, life has happened. Like, a whole child was like raised while this dude was gone. So, just to show you how impactful side stakes are, because these next couple of songs, moments, scenes, whatever you want to call them, they are back to back, because we are at the point of the story where, the point of no return is like way back there. We done killed like everyone. Everyone that we started this story with is dead except for like Odysseus. So we need to ramp up what these side character stakes mean for this story, since we have already been through so much in the last 20 years. So I bring to you the challenge, and this is my favorite version of the challenge. I don't remember if I put this in one of the earlier videos, but we're putting it in this video. So enjoy it. If it wants to play.
I'm supposed to choose a suitor to wear the crown. I said I would choose as soon as I weave this shroud. They don't know that every night I unthread all the work I've done. 'Cause I'd rather lie than allow them to think they've won. Though I never thought that I'd resort to this. Just know I'll be here. But I don't know how much longer I'll last since we saw that storm. And though it was so close to our kingdom, it was far from the norm. Unless, oh, could it be some kind of sign that the world is all about to change? Is it finally time for the change I'd arranged? Though I never thought that it would come to this. Just know I'll be here buying you time. once you know that your aim is true. 'Cause I'd rather die than grow old without the best of you. Though I never thought that these would be the lengths we go for love, I would not have it any other way. And though I never thought that it would end like this, just know I'll be here waiting, waiting, waiting,
So you can see that it wasn't just Odysseus that wanted Odysseus to get home. His wife was literally like in pieces, waiting for him. Why is this not going over? And he's not the only one that has some choice ideas and words about Odysseus not being home. There's also the suitors that are there. So let's see what they have to say. And if you don't already see, there's warning for what's SA? Oh, sexual abuse and blood and gore, because like I said, they are improper individuals who have a lot going on and need some therapy. Hello? There you go. There's your warning.
Whoever can dream the old king's bow and shoot through 12 axes cleanly will be the new king, sit down at the throne, Penelope as his queen. Where is he? Where is the man who can string this bow? Screw this competition, we've been here for hours. None of us can string this, we don't have the power. Screw this damn challenge, no more delays. Can't you guys see we're being played? This is how they hold us down while the throne gets colder. Hold us down while we slowly age. Hold us down while the boy gets bolder. Where in the hell is our pride and our rage? Here and now there's a chance for action. Here and now we can take control. Here and now burn it down to ashes. Channel the fire inside your soul. Haven't you noticed who's missing? Don't you know the prince is not around? I heard he's on a diplomatic mission, and I heard today he comes back to town. So I say we gather near the beaches. I say we wait till he arrives. Then when he docks his ship, we can breach it. Let us leave now, today we can strike it. Hold him down till the boy stops shaking. Hold him down while I slit his throat. Hold him down while I slowly break his pride, his trust, his faith, and his bones. Hold him down to tiny pieces. Hold him down in the great below. When the crown wonders where the prince is, only the ocean and I will know. And when the deed is done, the queen will have no one to stop us from breaking her bedroom door, stop us from taking her love and more. And then we'll hold her down while the gate is open. Hold her down while I get a taste. Hold her down while we share her spoils. I will not let any part go to waste. Here and now there's a chance for action. Here and now we can take control. Channel the fire inside your soul and hold it down. Hold it down. Hold it down. Hold it down.
You see why you need to have an inner world? Because we're about to get into some high stakes, people. I don't really have many words because I'm going to let Odie take it. But just remember, next time that you have a side character you just want to throw in there for shiggles, remember this video and the one I'm about to show you, because if you don't have these kind of high stakes, I'm just gonna let him take it away. There's not much to really say.
For 20 years I've suffered every punishment and pain, from the wrath of gods and monsters to the screams of comrades slain. I come back and find my palace desecrated, sacked like Troy. Worst of all, I hear you dare to touch my wife and hurt my boy. I have had enough. Somewhere in the shadows lurks an agile, deadly foe. We have the advantage, we've the numbers and the might. No, you don't understand it. This man plans for every fight. Where is he? Where is he? Keep your head down, he's aiming for the torches. Our weapons, they're missing. He's using the darkness to hide his approaches. We're empty-handed, up against an archer. Our only chance is to strike him in the darkness. We know these odds, the odds can be too big. You don't think I know my own palace? I built it. Serpent's head. Now the rest of us are no longer a threat. Oh, King, forgive us instead, so that no more blood is shed. Let's have open arms instead. No. Cunning than I assumed. While we were busy plotting, he hid our weapons inside this room.
I find it hard to believe that the sharpest of kings left his armory unlocked.
So what? Now that we have armed ourselves, let's make the bastard rot.
Behind you!
And I ensure you'll be spared.
After seeing what the king will do to us, we wouldn't dare.
I don't want to hurt you, but trust me, I've come prepared.
Your very presence is doomed the king, young prince. We don't fight fair.
Stop!
Brothers, we got company, and he's made a great mistake. Left the weapons room unlocked, and now they're ours to take. There's a chance for us to win. We can still defeat the king if we all attack the prince.
Where is he? Where is he?
Capture him, he's our greatest chance.
Get off me! Get off me!
Fight till the prince can barely stand.
Hold him down! Hold him down!
Make the king obey our commands.
Hold him down! Hold him down!
'Cause if he won't, I'll break the kid's hands. Got him.
was drowned. It died to bring me home. And as long as you're around, my family's fate is left unknown. You plotted to kill my son. You planned to rape my wife. All of you are going to die. You filled my heart with hate. All of you who have done me wrong. This will be your fate!
So, we don't put our characters through the ringer for no reason. While that was intense and insane, there is a reward at the end of all this wonderful drama. But you can see how the man that we saw at the start, the man that was dropping the baby at the wall, is a little different than the man that we just saw murdering everyone in his own palace. So when I say that characters need change, I mean that with all the intensity that last video gave. But like I said, we don't do intense without reward, because what would be the point to put not only us as a writer, but whoever is reading or watching or whatever our medium is that we are making a story, what is the point of putting us through all the drama if we don't get a reward? So enjoy your reward for all of this.
Father? Son? All my life I'd have died to meet you. Thought about your name so much it hurts. 20 years I dreamt of how I'd greet you. Oh, and now you're here. I can't find the words. All my life I'd have died to know you. Days and nights I wish that I could show you. For 20 years I never could outgrow you. Oh, and now you're here. I can't help but wonder what your world must be. If we're like each other, if I have your strength in me. All this time I've wondered if you'd embrace me as your own. 20 years I've wondered, for so long I felt alone. Oh my son, look how much you've grown. Oh my boy, sweetest joy I've known. 20 years ago I held you in my arms, how time has flown. Oh, used to say it'd make the storm clouds cry for you. Used to say it'd capture wind and sky for you. Held you in my arms, prepared to die for you. Oh, how time has flown. I can only wonder what your world has been. Things you've had to suffer, and the strength you hold within. All I've ever wanted was to reunite with my own. 20 years we've wandered, but today you're not alone. My son, I'm I'm home, I'll be there in a moment. Of course. Show yourself. I know you're watching me. Show yourself. You were never one for hellos.
I can't help but wonder what this world could be if we all held each other with a bit more empathy. I can't help but feel like I led you astray. But if there's a world where we don't have to live this way,
if that world exists, it's far away from here. It's one I'll have to miss, for it's far beyond my years. You might live forever, so you can make it be. But I've got one endeavor. There's a girl I have to see.
very well.
Father, she's waiting for you.
So this always cracks me up. But so you can see that not only does the main character get what they want, but they also get what they didn't expect at the same time, which is always a beautiful thing. And there is one song that comes after this that is kind of like the piece de resistance, the end of the whole musical. I did play it in the pilot episode of Homework Help, which was Love versus Lust. So if you want to see that, or just go and see it on your own, I highly recommend it. But we are not going to continue down all of the songs of Epic because we have our take-home exercise to get through. So it's just a couple questions because we've already had a lot to think about high stakes and trying to make sure that our main characters have enough catalysts and all of that stuff. So just a couple questions to ask yourself the next time that you are writing or brainstorming, or just, want to sit down with these questions just to sit down with them. Does my main character have high enough stakes? If you were not asking yourself that question after this video, I don't know what you're asking yourself. Are my catalysts doing their job to their fullest potential? Meaning, like, if I was going to do something to a character, how far can I take this? And whatever is going to happen to them, can it get worse? And is the highest stake, what is the highest stake that I can put my character through without killing them? Because once you kill them, you can't use them. And the final question to ask, is it necessary? Because you can put your character through all the stuff that you want, but is it necessary? Is it genuinely necessary? Like, I personally don't think that it was necessary to put Odysseus through that much drama, but he was also a king that needed to grow up, so I guess it was necessary to literally take everything away from him. I don't know. That's up for debate. But asking those bigger questions before you start your story, while you're doing your outlines, while you're getting to know your characters, it is very valuable, because then you get to know the inner worlds. And again, what is your character willing to die for? What is your character wishing for? What are the inner nuances of your character that are really making or breaking your story? And how can you lean into that to make sure that you are telling the story to its best possible nature? So we're going to wrap this up. I said that I was going to show the website. This has already been a very long video, but just to give you a quick tour of everything, this is what we look like now. And this is what it looks like when you don't log in, because I forgot to log in. But if you are a part of the support squad, you can just click this crown and it'll take you there. Um, what happens when you're not in? Oh, it just tells you to sign in. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, completely left the site. If you are a member of the Mythical Manuscript Guild, you can come right here to the MMG and either join or just go in there and say hello. This is where all the quizzes and challenges, the mini courses, the resources, Fantasy Island for anyone who wants to get fantasy, and anything that is purchased on Storyteller Planet, whether it is one of our many word vomit challenges, or sorry, I didn't mean to scroll that fast for those who have vertigo, but we also have mini courses here, or if you're signing up for the support squad, all of these are helping with our fundraiser. Couldn't think of the word for a second. Sorry. They help our fundraiser because April is about growth, and we are going to donate all of the proceeds from April to the Nature Conservancy this year. Hopefully, no one does anything nefarious because every day I wake up and something new and crazy has happened. But if you are interested, definitely follow us on Instagram at Storyteller Planet and join us for Green Week because every day from 420 to 426, we are going to have a new goddess enter our humble Instagram feed and teach us about how to keep the earth green, which is just my little fun way of trying to save our planet. And if you are not familiar with our comics, this is Tales, Tidbit, Story, everyone else. Please get to know them. They are literally my pride and joy, and they live on Storyteller Planet, so they are the ones that will be helping you if you need help. So yeah, that is all I have for you guys this time. We did it. We survived. Hooray. I'm so excited. I will see you guys next month. Next month is my birth month, so I'm going to pick a topic that is fun and not epic because we just will be very tangentful if we continue on the epic journey. But anyway, have a fantastic rest of the month, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.